So I have to look at the newspaper. Mama V, good morning.
Good morning to you, Roland. Good morning
How
to
was
you,
your weekend?
Kojo.
Hello, Mama
Weekend
V.
was good. Yeah.
Great.
Ask me how the last
Yeah. How have been your last
Leave
3
no be
weeks?
pension. Finally, you came. I thought you wouldn't show up.
I don't know why that makes you so happy.
Yay.
I'm excited to be back. I missed you
so
guys.
all of
We're
us
excited
went
to
at
have
the
you as
same
well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice, quiet 3 weeks. But none of my plans
No.
happened.
We were told by your
I'm
travel
very
agents that you went to
disappointed.
South Africa, Thailand, Malta, Mauritius,
Yeah, be that.
and
Are these
Madagascar.
places you would
None
love
of
to
the
visit?
M's.
No. Yeah.
None of the M's. I was supposed to go somewhere, but
Never materialized.
it didn't
Should I-
That's surprising.
Should I share?
happen.
Because I have some information.
Yeah. But it's great to be back. It's great
Yeah.
to see you
Yeah.
guys. I've
Yeah.
missed you all so much, and
Great to have you.
but I've been watching. I've been watching you guys.
Oh, you have?
Yes, you've been keeping me.
So, like, what's the time right now?
It's 35 minutes past 6.
6:35. What would you be doing? Like,
Ideally.
last week, Monday.
My
in
alarm
your
goes off
leave
at
period.
6, So by this time I'd be in bed, but watching you
Second
guys.
round.
No, second round of work.
You said I'll be in bed, and I just said second round.
I'd be in bed watching
Second
you
round of
guys.
sleep.
I think Kojo naturally doesn't sleep early. We all do know that. So
Yeah.
sometimes it means that the waking up when you're on leave will take some time.
Yes,
Yeah,
but I did watch you guys a lot, and
we
tried to
know
see
because you
if
kept
I could-
commenting. Charlie, guys. When you say guys, but we know that trouble is coming.
Oh, how much? Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing though. Our viewers, they are lucky. They have a good time. You guys give them a great time indeed. Like you gave me a good time. What's it?
All right, let's do the newspapers. Today I've grabbed the Finder, the Times, and the Daily Dispatch.
I have the Herald, the Daily Guide, and the Daily Graphic.
Okay, I have the rest.
All
Can we
right.
go on?
Okay, let's start off with the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder. They state no. Could you start?
Oh, all right then.
Yeah.
Find a newspaper. I don't have that.
No, you
Okay.
don't.
All right, okay. I'll do the Herald then. The Herald newspaper has this banner headline. I've seen this story somewhere, but first time in the Herald. Akufo-Addo rented private jet to watch football in Spain. Also, GCB workers drag bank to court over dismissals, and PIAC accuses government of chopping oil money. Also on the front page, criticism against alternative medicine needless. That's according to Dr. Nyakote. And that is it for the front page. Stories inside. A Daily Guide is the next paper I've got. We'll look at the front and back pages of the Daily Guide. So let's start with the front, where the banner headline is Canadian girls kidnappers storm Kumasi. Hey, okay. Echoing Hills child abuse probe underway. And also on the front page, Otumfuo set for Dagbon Peace Award. China hosts African ministers. Group petitions Shraj over Mahama cars. And CBG courts customers trust. And there's a picture of Daniel Wilson Addo, CBG boss, on the front page. Let's have a quick look on the back of the Daily Guide this morning. And it has Kotoko Lift NC Special Cup. Ghana can surprise all, and Marcel Desailly is the person whose picture accompanies that story. KK Pepra hails Coach Apia, and President and Minister charge stars as they battle Benin tomorrow. All right, big game tomorrow. All right, Daily Graphic is the last paper I've got. Very, very thick volume this morning. And what a story. On the front page, banner headline, government can't sack CEOs. And that is according to the Supreme Court. Emmanuel Hawkson has written this story. We'll share details in a bit. Also, police rescue Pastor Kobri as angry customers demand locked up cash. Rescue is...
What I heard was a bit different from this. Rescued or arrested?
Rescue is how this story describes it.
Interesting.
But eyewitnesses say something else, right?
Because the police said they were interested in him.
Yeah,
That
he was the
they've been
subject
looking
of
for
an
him.
investigation. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Gospel musician arrested for selling spiritual water. There's a picture of Brother Sammy on the front page. And he's apparently this spiritual water is being sold as an HIV/AIDS cure. Accelerate economic growth. Government and private sector must collaborate. And it's Valentina Minta saying that. Valentina Minta of West Blue. Consolidated Bank launches tagline is also on the front page. The full story is on page 16. Now let's have a quick look on the back page of the Daily Graphic this morning. Some sports stories, 2 sports stories. Can the Elephants trample over Bafana Bafana? That's supposed to be a rather interesting game today. And Kotoko beat Karela to win special competition and book place in CAF Champions League. So there we go. That's the Daily Graphic, and that's me.
Okay,
All
now
right.
let's come back to
No, I wanted to
boys
do-
first.
Oh, okay. Now that's where we are.
New era in life.
Yeah,
Right?
boys first.
Boys first.
Yeah.
We
whatever.
take it, we love it.
Whatever.
We have the Independent, and it has on the front page Matthew Poku Prempeh, Colossus in modern Ghanaian politics. You know what it means.
That's a news story.
Yeah, it's an.
So they are sharing
I think it's an
a
article.
fact here.
That has been headline. It's not wrong.
It'll probably
I'm not
be a
sure
feature.
journalistic. Yeah. La Pleasure Beach spends 20,000 Ghana cedis on clearing filth. And if you read the story, this is expenditure monthly because of the poor state of filth. And living with albinism, my father wanted to reject me because he thought I was cursed.
Oh.
And those are some of the problems with disabilities in our society. We also have on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper, NDC power flops again. Make a breeze safe again. It's a part 2 of a DS campaign, Daily Statesman campaign. GIDEC, your bauxite is in safe hands. That's a development corporation tells Ghanaians. And those are the stories we have on the front page. Okay. I'm
I
done.
can go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, finally we get to do the Finder. Front page of the Finder newspaper. Here we go. Troubling education statistics out of school numbers. Secondary is 25%, primary 19%, JHS 7%, 29% girls, 40% boys at risk of dropping out of junior high school. Some of the statistics will shock you. Details is on page 2. A survey conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that as high as 25% of youth who should be in senior high school are not in school. Also, at the primary school level, the number of school-going children who are out of school is also as high as 19%. And this survey is the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey 6. It was conducted in 2017-2018 by the Ghana Statistical Service with support from various stakeholders. Also shows that 7% of teenagers who should be in junior high school are not in school. And then they said Greater Accra is the highest performer in both reading and numeracy, while the Northern and Upper West regions are the least. Guess what? Girls better in reading skills, boys better in numeracy, all contained in that detail story. Overall, girls perform better in reading skills, while boys outperform girls in numeracy skills. The report said children in urban areas and those in richest households outperform their counterparts in rural and poorest households, respectively, in both literacy and numeracy, something that Roland's been saying when he gets the opportunity. Let's go back to the front page of the Finder newspaper, though, because there are more headlines. Accelerated growth hinges on vibrant private sector, according to Ms. Minta. You can read details of that, page 8. Court convicts owners of stray cattle and forced quarters. Very interesting. And this actually happened.
And they were
in
made to
Accra.
pay.
They were, yeah.
960.
960. And this happened at Kolebu. So what it
And they
is
have to
is
wait
that
the
when you
course time
actually-
for that to.
Yeah, when you actually see, if we want to enforce the laws, we can.
Yeah.
This is what it means. But how often do we see something like this happen?
But even though we have to go to the courts before,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah, if we don't
We
want
can
to
have
prevent,
a local assembly
if
just.
we don't want to prevent, then we'll have to end up in courts.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can prevent it. It's very interesting, and this was done by the sanitation court. So he fined 2 persons an amount of 960 Ghana cedis each. equivalent to 80 penalty units, for allowing their herd of cattle to stray, causing traffic congestion and posing danger to motorists in the metropolis.
Could this be the solution to the whole nomadic herdsmen problem that seems to get people acting lawlessly around the country?
Not really.
Yeah, but
This one is just stray cattle in
if those people had
urban areas,
faith
I think.
that if I take these people to court, action will be taken and the law will be enforced, they might not feel the need to bear their own arms and shoot people's cattle and all of that business.
Well,
you know, but they feel like that option is not available to them.
yeah.
So they find themselves trying to pursue justice on their own.
But let me
never
get
turns
understand
out
what you're
well.
saying. So ideally, in a rural setting like Agogo, then you can enforce this. And so the farmers
if
who
it was
think that they have
enforceable,
been,
yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, if we could enforce this across the country, and if farmers and everybody felt that they had access to, you know,
some form of justice
in this way, perhaps.
And then ultimately, it will be the owners of these cattle or the herds who will be paying, not necessarily the Fulani herdsmen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need the environmental health officers attached to the assemblies to do their work, because they did this piece of work that got us this result, which has been published in the Finder newspaper. And this was at Kolibu. This is Kolibu, but we see them all around us. Means something could happen. So this story also in the Finder, Kojo, you brought us an angle in the Daily Graphic about the Pastor Kobiri. But the angle in the Finder is what we know, I think. It says police investigators have begun looking into how scores of investors got their monies locked up with EL Real Estates and Tikore Capital. The owner of the two schemes, Pastor Kelvin Kobiri, who is the founder of the Zoe Outreach Embassy, has been taken to the police CID headquarters for interrogation. So it's not like they were giving him protection, like it's been reported elsewhere, but he's actually being arrested, at least for interrogation. Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper, front page of the Times. Ghana Health Service to ban mobile phone use in hospitals.
By who?
Well, it comes
By
with the
staff
picture.
or patients or who?
I'll check out the details.
Wow.
It's page 17. So whilst I look for that, let's run through the rest of the headlines on the front page of the Times. Now, Rongo UDS campus to be named after C.K. Tedem. Consolidated Bank repositions with all-inclusive tagline. 15-year-old new jabbing SHS students murdered. And then 3 arrested for kidnapping and robbing students. Then Kawiya Circuit Court has remanded 3 persons into prison custody for their alleged roles in kidnapping and robbing of a senior high school student at Nkawie in the Echema in Wabieja South municipality of the Ashanti region. Details in the paper, but this story that Kojo is asking, the Ghana Health Service is considering a ban on the use of mobile phones among health professionals in various health facilities across the country. This was hinted by the Director General, Dr. Anthony Insia Asare. It comes on the back of complaints of poor customer service among health workers who often attached to their phones during working hours to the detriment of human lives. Yeah. So yeah, of course, I see where he's coming from.
Right. Well, you know that Kobiri story? In the Daily Graphic, the angle is slightly different. So rescued is in quotation marks here. And then they say that according to the source, the police had a distress call from the church that a number of people from Takwa had besieged the church to demand their locked up capital with the company, and that was at the time the pastor of the charismatic church was leading the congregation in the Sunday service. Now the source added that the information was that the aggrieved customers were threatening to lynch the pastor for deceiving them. It said a team of policemen was dispatched to the scene where they rescued the pastor and sent him to the CID headquarters. Now, Pastor Kobiri, according to the source, was made to write a statement before he was allowed to leave. It said the pastor, who is already under investigations, was released on his former bail and would report himself to the police today.
How is he rescued and asked to write a statement and then released on bail?
Yeah, so no, they said former bail, which means that he has been arrested before in the past. And he's out on bail.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of the angle of he was escorted or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's if the suggestion is that he was arrested at some point earlier, maybe earlier in the week, and released on bail. So he was on bail, and then they suspected he was in some danger because of this gathering crowd. So they rescued him, took him to the station where they made him write a statement about the event, and then they released him back onto his former bail. I think that's how the Daily Graphic is couching it.
Okay, we had our cameraman there. We had one of our news editors also reporting on that day. And the accounts that they give is quite different. So,
it is.
you know, everybody there thought the police came in to get rid of those who had at least gathered to protest. But not so. The police did say that they were interested in the pastor. He was a person of interest, so they were picking him up. That was it. What is not clear, though, is what I think about 5 military men were doing on the church premises, protecting the church and the pastor. And the information that we gather is that these military officers from the Ghana Armed Forces were not officially on duty.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
but they were dressed in military uniform.
In military fatigue.
And these are the Ghana Armed Forces, you know.
Personnel.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we captured them on camera because they tried to beat up our cameraman.
David.
David Ankuma. So we've got that captured. And in the process, well, we have some of their stuff as well. So we'll see how far this goes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And we also have to say that this whole incident and the agitations have been going on for a number of years now. And even though these are the pictures also coming from just the
so this was from yesterday's service and what our cameras captured, the church premises. We'll have some conversations on this a bit later on in the morning. Let's go back, return to the newspapers.
Quite
at
interesting.
least.
Okay.
Let's do the Daily Dispatch. I think it's the last paper that I haven't done. Or you want to do the graphic?
No, I'll let you finish.
Okay.
There's a story
So here we go. The
about.
Daily Dispatch. Ghana needs 38,000 nurses to bridge gap in health sector, according to the Nurses Association. Passwords of 18 major institutions in Ghana stolen and sold to criminals. FBI warns Ghana and meets the 22 members of the Police Management Board. Paper is advertising. AFCON 2019 meets all the 24 coaches as well. That's what the paper is advertising in today's papers today. Oh, and then on the back page, interesting. Prostitute junkies take over Asumdwe Park. Story credited to GhanaWeb.com. Details of that on the back page of the paper. Kojo, you're going with Daily Graphic?
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks this is perhaps the biggest news in a long time.
I think so.
But the banner headline here, government can't sack CEOs, and that is a Supreme Court declaration. It's a pity that it's come at this time when I think all the CEOs from the previous administration have already been sacked. But the Supreme Court has now interpreted the law to say that a new government cannot sack the CEOs that were
if their terms are not due.
Exactly, unless they go through certain procedures. So it says here the removal of heads of public corporations as a result of a change of government has been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Okay, now this was happening because of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, okay, Act 845, which terminated the appointments of the chief executives or director generals of public corporations, statutory boards, and authorities upon the assumption of office of a new president. Okay, so now that law has been repealed by the Supreme Court. Okay, so now if
the law has not been repealed, it's been interpreted.
By this decision, the Supreme Court has repealed the section of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, which terminated the appointments of the chief executives or director generals of public corporations, statutory boards, and authorities upon the assumption of office of a new president. So that is what the Supreme Court is saying. It is now repealed. Okay, by their interpretation of the Constitution, you cannot remove a public officer unless you have gone through certain procedures. It says the removal of such public service officers must therefore be done in accordance with the terms and conditions of their contract of engagement, or it must be justified as stipulated in Article 191 of the Constitution. So if you are going to remove them...
think that this is going to deter our politicians from doing this? You
Well,
want to test this? Let's wait to see if there is a change. But
If there's a transition.
especially because they say you have to go according to it, and there must be justification. They can always come up with something.
I think that before you come in, what has always been happening, and you take, for example, the position of the governor of the Bank of Ghana from the previous administration to the current transition that we had from 2016 to 2017, in which there were some side negotiations that were undertaken. And you'll get to know that there were side negotiations because the deputy governor, Dr. Isiama, had said he was forcibly made to etc., etc. And they can go through the processes of law to have some negotiations with you as an individual who is occupying that position, and somewhat you will be compelled to say, I resign. And of course, it means that your other emolument or whatever severances that are due you would have to be paid. But then I think this is very important and poignant, because then it lays out any position of redress that could be sought by any individual who is occupying those positions as stated in the ruling. And we have to say, for example, if you go through the ruling also, there's been some interesting revelations that were made by the justices. Of course, we know presiding was the Chief Justice herself, but also constituting was Justice Doche Gbadegbe, Benin, Mafusau, and Amegache and Kote.
So you see, their ruling was quite comprehensive, and they put in place certain specific legal blocks so that you can't come and just, find a justification and remove them. Because
that is if somebody wants to stand his ground and say that I want to continue.
By the time you end up fighting this in courts, if you were sacked.
No, but that's the point. The point is they have the Supreme Court, in their wisdom, have made it so that the sacking itself is difficult. You can't come and sack and then the person now has to take you to court to justify.
I'm just saying that
So what they've said is they put an order of perpetual injunction restraining any person or authority from removing from office such chief executives, chief executive officers, director generals, howsoever called, and members of governing boards of public corporations merely on account of the assumption of office of the person elected as president. Okay, so that's what happened at the last, handover or whatever they call it, transition. You simply
do they just especially with the chief executives, do they just sack them?
Yes.
Oh, I thought they come up with something.
Because
there any justification at all?
Because the Transition Act 2012 Act 845 says that as soon as a new president comes, all of you leave. Okay, so that is what has been stopped. All right. So now you would have to physically sack them. And before you sack them, you need a justification. You understand? And there are, God knows how many public offices, and it's not just the not-for-profit ones, but even the semi-commercial ones, like the banks and all of that, agricultural development, Bangana Oil, GOIL, state housing. All of them are protected now. Okay, so you can't just assume office and say
the oil MD was recently changed, wasn't it?
Yes, but also I would say that the last one who was changed until Mr. Prempeh, who was a former Deputy Attorney General, came into office, had challenged this. And so was made to see out his term in office as the CEO of GOIL, or MD of GOIL, and subsequently he had to wait till his time of pension was due. And let's also say that prior to this, we've had an effort made by Mr. Okujeto, Samuel Okujeto, who had gone also to court to have some interpretation when he was a member of the Bank of Ghana board as well. I think prior to the assumption of office of the first NDC.
Do you remember the Ridge Hospital CEO?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now there will be a lot more clarity around such situations. You can't just come along and say,
I'm just waiting for us to test this, to get there and see how we're going to respect this. Roland Kojo, you were probably watching. There are Sokori Mampomi, chief executive, who had issues with the league table.
Yes.
Yeah, who was fighting it so hard because he was last.
Yeah.
And then they said his area was insecure. Well, there's good news for him and others, because a deputy local government minister, Obi Amoah, says that, stay put, we're not going to sack you because necessarily of the league table and its results. If the president wants to, he will. But for now, just stay put.
I don't know whether
and don't fight it. Take it in good faith.
I don't know whether that is a relief for him. If the president wants to, he will. But we always knew that. So, well,
at least for now, there's no decision to sack you.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Well,
it was quite funny though, seeing him come to defend his position. But we have to do sports.
We have to do sports. Tomorrow, Black Stars will play Benin.
Yeah.
Have you guys been following the African Cup of Nations?
Yeah.
Okay, you still think we have a chance?
I watched Senegal yesterday, Algeria.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't know about you. I'm a little more excited by the National Science and Maths quiz.
Oh, I am as well.
Yeah.
And then over the weekend, the whole strongman medical,
Oh,
and now
yeah.
M dots manifest. Yeah. Yeah, we're not going. Is it they did the Beba? Stay with us, we got sports.
When was the last time any of you had supper in East Legon?
Where
Alright.
do you want to take us?
Let's very quickly move on. It's time for sports, and the team are poised. We're back right after these.